Greetings, everybody. Robin here from Courage is the Cure. Welcome to episode 48 of Rise. Today, we're going to be talking about South Australia, the South Australian Handbook, South Australian Playbook, even Gaslight, Restrict, Repeat. See you in a sec.
Strength of a woman world on her shoulders. Fight through the noise when the world gets colder. 8:32, got the grit, got the fire. Watch her rise, watch her come higher.
Alrighty, greetings, everybody. Like I said, welcome to episode 48 of Rise. It is the 18th of August 2025. Today, we're going to be talking about South Australia. South Australian Playbook, Gaslight, Restrict, Repeat. Amazing. Just want to say a huge shout out to my most recent supporters on Buy Me a Coffee. Without people's support, my work would not be possible. And those wonderful people are Jackie, Denise, Nerida, and Annie. Thank you very much. It is much appreciated. Thank you. Hello to everybody on YouTube. We're streaming to YouTube again, just reminding myself about community guidelines and standards, not censorship. Hello, YouTube. I'll be sending out the black sheep badges to. Is it going to show it? If I can cover my face. There it is. The black sheep badges to the winners of the competition with Albanese and the pie. We had 3 winners. We had a phenomenal amount of entries. Thank you all for entering that, and I'll be sending out those badges. And we've also got the next issue of The Light, issue 19. So you can go along to thelightaustralia.com. And of course, front page is an article by George Christensen. They're coming for your screen, the truth about the YouTube ban. So yeah, get yourself a copy of The Light at thelight.com. Hello, Rachel. How are you? Nice to see you here. Okay, everybody. So, South Australia. Shall we look at that thumbnail one more time? Look at the wonderful people that we've got there. Everybody, of course, the gentleman is the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, and the young lass, if I'm going to be polite, is the Chief Health Officer of South Australia, Nicola Spurrier. Hello, Gail. That'd be fantastic. Thank you, Gail. You're amazing. I am well. And so, fun fact for, well, I guess our overseas audience of Rise, Nicola Spurrier, that Chief Health Officer there, you can see her on the thumbnail. As I said, she's the current Chief Health Officer. Say that 3 times when you've had a couple of beers. She was the Chief Health Officer during the old Britney Spears era. She's one of the only ones left in Australia, you know, amongst the chief health officers, the premiers during the Britney Spears era, you know, all the essential staff during that time. She's one of the only ones that's actually left. It's quite astounding. Most notably, I have a fondness for Nicola. Yes, Gail, pants on fire. After, I think it was Friday's episode of Rise, we had a wonderful Rise audience member send me a photo of Julie Inman Grant, our e-commissioner. I wish I had it ready to go, but I don't. And we had a visual representation of Julie's pants on fire, because I made a point about censorship happening on Facebook. and noting that her pants are on fire. And yes, Peter's pants are on fire. That's something I didn't look up. Can anybody confirm, any South Australians? Was Peter the Premier during the Britney Spears era? I didn't look that fun fact up. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. We've got a new fun thing happening on the screen there. You can see just to the side there, the comments are coming up by themselves. They have a new function with that little box. So let me know if you can see that, if it's worth having it on the screen or if it's just pointless, and we'll get rid of it. Because, hi, Willem, how are you going? Hello, Belinda. So let's get on with it. I mean, this one's going to be another jam pack. I cannot promise this won't be an ear bleeding episode, an eye twitching episode, because I've got a lot of videos here. We are talking about South Australia, the playbook, gaslight, restrict, repeat. We have a lot of suggestions and policies that stem from South Australia, and I think it goes unnoticed. And so I'd like to draw everybody's attention to that today. This is what this episode is about, drawing attention to this state, South Australia, gaslight, restrict, repeat. Where are we going to start with, everybody? Well, we're going to have to start with a bit of fun because, as I said, I cannot guarantee that it won't be a painful episode. So we're going to start with something fun. Not really fun. Let's start with the Chief Health Officer, shall we? And this video takes us all the way back to 2022, September of 2022. The height of the Britney Spears. And this is the Chief Health Officer doing some sort of marathon, getting the health bits in and all that sort of stuff, getting the steps in. And she's doing a bit of touch point cleaning to make a point about how dangerous it is to touch things during the Britney Spears era. Here we go.
What are we doing here, Professor?
Oh, we're just making sure all the touch points are kept nice and clean.
Nice to see you
Yeah.
sacrificing a run.
Oh, I've had my run this morning.
Oh, good. Did you run here?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That doesn't look like her to me. But people are saying that this is Nicola. I don't know. Maybe it might be a doppelganger. But anyway, a bit of touch point cleaning never hurt anybody, did it? But what we really want to see as part of the gaslighting. Good morning, Joanne. What we really want to see is the next video. Now, people in Australia will remember this. There was a lot of contention around football games, and how dangerous it can be because you've got a lot of people gathering in one spot and they've got to fit in those tiny little seats together, while Miss Britney Spears is rampant, and not everybody was able to actually get their Britney Spears. Do we all remember this? Here we go.
Eating at the moment, and of course we're looking at the ball, because sometimes the ball, not that I've been to many football games, I have noticed occasionally it does get kicked into the crowd, and we are working through the details of what that will mean. If you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball.
Did we hear that, everybody? Duck and don't touch the football. Don't touch it. Don't touch the football. Is this not? I mean, the episode's called South Australian Playbook. I did say handbook as well. I mean, these people in South Australia are the masters of gaslighting, right? Absolute masters of
We
gaslighting.
are working through the details of what that will mean. If you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball. Well,
Duck and do not touch that ball, everybody. Do we remember that? That was back in June of 2021. Duck and do not touch that ball. Gaslighting. Gaslighting. Look at that kind fella behind her holding an umbrella. Hey? Oh, that must be nice to have somebody there to hold an umbrella for you. I mean, that is one of the most ridiculous videos from the Britney Spears era. You know, apart from the dancing nurse, so on and so forth. Oh gosh, you all know. You all know. Unbelievable. All right, so where are we going to move on from there? We did have. I was going to show you an article. There was lots of articles written about it by corporate media, all these sorts of things. Of course, even corporate media, megaphone for the government, had to tell everybody about that. So you know, here we go, the playbook, handbook of how to gaslight everybody. Let's get Nicholas Spurrier out there, the chief health officer. This is a lady who's paid to care about South Australian health. And she's telling everybody not to touch a football. I mean, honestly, this is ridiculous. Oh, Stifler's mum. Stifler's mum makes you want to lick the slides at the park. Indeed. I say, go ahead. Go and lick those slides. Gee whiz. Honestly. Unbelievable. All right, so where are we going to go next? Where are we going to go next, everybody? Well, let's take a hop, skip, and a jump up until 2024. So last year, we had we're going to do a spot of screening the share this morning, everybody, to X, and we're going to have a look at which one is it? Michael Arbin's page on X. And got so many pages open. There we go. So Michael Arbin's post on X. This is from April 12th, 2024. Right? So the infamous Professor Nicholas Spurrier has announced that South Australia Health is set to remove mandatory COVID vaccinations for employees who work with patients. It's good about time, huh? April 2024. South Australia will consult its more than 40,000 staff about the move. Okay, that sounds great. Oh, no, hang on, wait, what's this? In classic pig-headed Professor Spurrier style, the proposed removal of the mandate will come with a catch. Eh? Gaslight. Restrict. What's the catch? Staff would only be exempt if they signed a declaration acknowledging that they've been advised of the proven benefits of COVID vaccinations and their active decision to forego its benefits. Right? So they'll remove the mandatory arm spears for employees who work with patients. But even though it's not mandatory, even if you don't want to have an arm spear, you've got to sign a declaration acknowledging that you've been advised of the proven benefits of the arm spears. Right? Astounding, isn't it? Still continuing to gaslight people, still continuing to restrict people, because once what are they going to do with those declarations? I ask. What do they do with that information? Is it the same as they did in Western Australia when people refused an arm spear and the education department put employees of the education department on a blacklist so that if you applied for another position at another school, you would be on a list that informed the principal that you don't follow directives, hey? So what do they do with those declarations in South Australia? First they gaslight you, then do they restrict you? and any future employment? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Well, when that happened back in April of 2024, I did report on that, and we'll hear from Nicola herself. Here we go.
We will require a declaration for COVID vaccine for people that refuse a COVID vaccine. So it will be strongly recommended, but a requirement to sign a declaration form if they refuse. And all I was saying was that we also have strongly recommended for influenza, and it may be that we consider in the future for people that don't have a flu vaccine that they'll need to sign a form. It's again another little nudge to try and keep our workforce fully vaccinated.
We love being nudged. Hey, do you like being nudged? Do you like being nudged? Well, I'm just going to, for to make it absolutely clear. No, I don't live in South Australia, but I'm preempting. It hasn't happened yet. This was, well over 12 months ago in April 2024. But watching South Australia's track record with influencing federal policy and other state policy, I'm just putting this out there for Western Australia's Chief Health Officer and any future employers, which wouldn't employ me anyway, because I'm too busy putting my face on camera and saying things that people won't say out loud. I don't think anyone would employ me, but just in case, here's my declaration. Let's not be distracted from what these people are trying to do to us. So let's add Nicola to the stage.
So we will require a declaration for COVID vaccine for people that refuse a COVID vaccine. So it will be strongly recommended, but a requirement to sign a declaration form if they refuse. And all I was saying was that we also have strongly recommended for influenza, and it may be that we consider in the future for people that don't have a flu vaccine that they'll need to sign a form. It's again another little nudge to try and keep our workforce fully vaccinated.
I don't know about you, but I love being nudged by people like Nicola to keep everybody in the workplace safe. Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to make another declaration of refusal, Nicola. I will not comply. I will never, ever, ever comply. I will not comply with a third phase trial drug experiment, and nor will I comply with signing or showing papers or some wanky app. Absolutely not. So you can have my declaration of refusal in video format, love. And any other chief health officer who wants to nudge people into protecting the workforce. How's that, Nicola? So there we go, everybody. And that was also April of 2024. And I don't need to say it again, but gaslighting, restricting. I want to know what they're doing with that information. People signing that declaration in South Australia, you on some naughty blacklist. Here's one of the naughty people. Hello, Willie's Desert Hangout again. I like the sound of that place. Can we come and join you over there? Hello, Mish, on YouTube as well. Nice to see you here. Honestly. So I don't know if that's happened in any other states. Has that happened that anyone in the audience is aware of in any other state? Because South Australia seems to have a funny way of introducing things, and other states take them on. And even the federal government does. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. Gail, fully vaccinated, not well and healthy, if you notice the wording. Yes, Mish, that's right. So there we go, everybody. That was April 2024. Gaslighting, restricting, repeating. I mean, they just don't stop. I mean, obviously, if they're not mandating it, we've already had all these conversations before. I don't need to go through it again. Now we're going to get on to, yes, you too, Mish. Wonderful to have you here. We're going to get on to the very important part, which is the significant part of the show. And everybody knows that spends any time watching me that I've been talking about the, digital ID, the under 16 social media ban, so on and so forth. And these are the two items which I think demonstrate South Australia is one of those countries, states that goes unnoticed as to influencing state and federal policy. And because it's South Australia, just like Western Australia, nobody pays attention to what's going on in WA. They don't even know who Roger Cook is. The only reason people know who Nicholas Berry is because of that football video. We all remember that one, don't we? But otherwise, nobody cares what goes on in South Australia. And I think we need to pay attention. So, first of all, let's get to the Premier, Mr. Peter Malinauskas. So, back in June of 2024, Peter was talking about political parties during elections taking donations, right, for their campaigns. So this video is from 13th of June 2024, so a little over a year ago, and he's talking about getting money out of politics, right? That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? You shouldn't just, we all know that the uni party and the supporting parties, they all take large sums from companies which people have a problem with and it's questionable. It sounds good, doesn't it, to get money out of politics, right? Anyway, let's go along to 13th of June 2024, hearing from Premier Peter.
I think any politician worth their salt would be supportive of a proposition where the power of their ideas, the strength of their credentials is what wins the day, rather than just the ability to be able to raise money from a wealthy donor. We don't want a situation where elections are determined by the size of a candidate's or a party's war chest. Elections should be determined by the quality of candidates, the power of one's ideas. It shouldn't be about money. So if we can level the playing field to ensure that all participants in the political process have access to an appropriate degree of funding relative to their level of support within the community, then we diminish the likelihood that a campaign war chest size informs the outcome.
All right, so we didn't cut off. We didn't need to hear the rest, right? So it should be power of ideas and credentials, that they all have access to funding. Now, in case people didn't know, established parties are provided money by the government for each vote that they've received in an election, right? That's how they get their funding from the government. And of course, because people still don't realise there's other parties outside of Liberal, Labor and Greens, it naturally follows that Liberal and Labor get the most amount of funding for their political campaigns. But more importantly, what it means is that minor parties who don't get very many votes, or independents, or new parties or new independents wouldn't receive any money, right? So you would have to have people donating large donations, or people which means that only people who have a lot of money, rich people, would be able to fund their run either as an independent or if they started a new minor party. That's a huge problem. So there was Peter talking about that on the 13th of June 2024. Well, it didn't take too long. It took 12 months. We're going to screen the share again this morning. I'm sorry, I'm pressing all sorts of desktop buttons here. We're going to screen the share to my Substack page, because on the 2nd of July, we had this announcement from Peter. The 2nd of July this year, in regards to getting money out of politics.
South Australia, it is illegal for any political party or any member of parliament or any candidate to receive political donations from any source. This is a globally significant reform that we have not seen anywhere else in the world. It is now the case that in the state of South Australia, our elections, our politicians cannot receive privately funded donations, whether they come from business, whether they come from unions, whether they come from lobbyists. I think Australians are sick and tired of seeing members of parliament running around acting as hawkers for donations rather than focusing on their jobs, which is to represent the interests of people.
So there we go, everybody. That was the 2nd of July this year. So it took 12 months for Mr. Peter to get that through in South Australia. And note that he said it's globally significant, that this hasn't been seen anywhere else before. We're hearing that a lot within Australian politics, whether it's from states or whether it's from people like our Prime Minister, or whether it's from unelected bureaucrats like Julie Inman Grant, world leading. Somehow our under 16 social media ban, aka digital ID, is different to the UK one, except we don't have any detail about how exactly it's different. But it's world leading, remember? And remember on Friday, I think it was, I reported that, or it might have been Monday, Anthony Albanese is very excited to go to the UN meeting in America in September and tell everybody about this world leading under 16 social media ban. He's very excited about that because it's world leading. So there we go, everybody. It took a year, but we just had in July Premier of South Australia, Peter, saying that it's globally significant. It's not seen anywhere else before. It's about the power of ideas. Unfortunately, like I said before, it means that unless you have a rather large bank account, there will be no independence. There will be no new minor parties, small parties in South Australia because what? You can't receive donations to run a campaign. So I wonder how long that's going to take to get around the rest of Australia. I don't know. So we've seen the declaration you've got to make when you don't want to participate in Miss Britney Spears. You've got the no donations allowed with political parties, both in South Australia, gaslighting the hell out of us, restricting us all, restricting people in their employment, possibly being put on a blacklist, restricting people's aspirations to become part of the political sphere, to, who knows, affect change in a positive manner through an election. Now the last one we have is, of course, digital ID. I'm sorry, the under 16-year-old social media ban. Now, believe it or not, everybody, believe it or not, where was this idea first thrown around? Well, you wouldn't believe it, but it was actually South Australia. Lo and behold, it was actually South Australia. So we had on the 13th of May 2024, so this was a month before Peter was talking about getting money out of politics. We also had Peter talking about restricting young people online. I've got a number of videos here that I want to play for you about this. I just want to make sure I get the right one. So the 13th of May, here we go. Started off. This is the ear bleeding, eye twitching portion of the show.
So my message to them is pretty clear, right? Change has got to come here, whether they like it or not. And they've essentially got two options, don't they? They can either sit down and work with legislators and regulators to develop a model that is consistent with, what I think the public reasonably expect, or they can fight it. Now, if they choose to fight it, then they will find themselves in a deleterious position. They will find themselves working against, states, the Commonwealth. They'll find themselves working against parents. And I don't think that would be a very prudent response on their behalf, but that's on them.
So there we go, everybody. That's Peter, Premier of South Australia. That was the 13th of May, 2024. Not too long ago. And then what did Peter get up to? Let's just remove that. What did Peter get up to following that? Let's just watch this. This is from the 23rd of May, 2024.
Push to ban children aged under 14 from social media has been boosted by an unlikely ally. Peter Malinauskas met with prestigious US surgeon Dr. Vivek Murthy at the White House yesterday. Dr. Murthy, who has been advocating for similar changes to the Premier's proposal in the States, says there are indicators that social media can harm the mental health and well-being of children and adolescents.
It was a great opportunity to be able to speak about the interest the White House has had here, which obviously I've just been adjacent to in my meeting with Mr Murthy, and actually work together on protecting young people from the harms of unreasonable and excessive social media use.
Florida has introduced a law banning under 14s from social media platforms, which will come into effect next year.
And fun fact for everybody, kids are now having to, or people, everyone, excuse me, are now having to prove their age on YouTube. But there we go. That's from the latter part of May 2023. And if you notice, Peter was introduced by Peter as under 14, right? That's where it started at. Under 14. There he goes. Goes off to the US. Hey, South Australia Premier social media ban campaign backed by the US surgeon. Amazing, isn't it? Astounding. So, what happens after that? Well, we've got to hear from Elbow. Hey, we've got to get the Prime Minister's A-OK for this first, don't we? Before we enrol Miss Julian Grant and our previous Communications Minister, Michelle Rowland, to get in front of the cameras and talk to her. We've got to get the Prime Minister on side, don't we, everybody?
And listening to the community.
Our kids are being done harm through addiction to social media. We've seen levels of childhood depression, anxiety going through the roof. While it can be a force for good, it can also be a force for bad, and that's why we've got to regulate it. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese contacted me to say that it won't just be South Australia who's legislating to do this.
Has put money in the budget in May for a trial.
It'll be the federal parliament on behalf of the whole country.
Amazing. Amazing, isn't it? South Australia. World leading. I'd like to know what's going on in South Australia. I really would like to know what is going on in South Australia. There's only 3 things that I've talked about this morning which have an impact on the whole of Australia and come out of South Australia. I could go on about more with my coverage of the councils around Australia with the ye olde DNA contamination. Hello, YouTube. I could go on about more in regards to South Australia and China and the councils and all sorts of things. Anyway. They like to do these things. Tasmania, Western Australia and South Australia, some really abhorrent things come out of these states, and because the east coast of Australia pay no attention to other states, and I'm not having a go at people who live in the eastern states. It's just how it is. It's fact. Get over it. Pay no attention to the rest of Australia. People like this, people like Premier Peter Malinauskas and chief health officers like Nicholas Spurrier get around doing things, introducing things into the public discourse, planting those little seeds, starting the conversation that ends up influencing other states' policy and federal policy. I'd like to know what Peter and Nicola, I'd like to know how long they've signed up for with their contracts and how they're going to benefit when they walk through that revolving door. Because as far as I can see, they're doing the devil's work. They're doing things they're told to do to introduce it into the Australian public sphere. And then it gets shoved down the pipeline in other states, and the whole of the country gets signed on to do stuff that we weren't consulted about, that we've got no interest in. It doesn't benefit Australians, doesn't benefit the voters, even if you believe in voting and political parties. Doesn't enhance your prospects of future employment. I'd like to know what they've been offered when they're going to walk through that revolving door, especially Nicola. She's been there a long time, that lady, especially when we're talking about the Britney Spears era. So let's not forget a lot of globally significant. I mean, that's come out of Peter's mouth when he was talking about taking money out of politics. Globally significant things are happening in South Australia. Yeah, good question, Mish. Not too sure about that. Astounding. Absolutely astounding. And nobody notices. Nobody notices what goes on in Tasmania. Nobody notices what goes on in South Australia. Nobody notices what goes on in Western Australia. We're often the petri dishes for policy and change in the rest of Australia. Look at that. Look at that. Honestly, this is how retarded these people are and how retarded they think we are that we don't notice. So there we go. It didn't, unlike taking money out of voting, which took a year to get through in South Australia, the social media ban, originally it was talked about to be under 14, but they raised it to under 16. Under 16. Now, I am going to screen the share one more time to Fascist Book. Because I came across a video today which demonstrates another point that I've been making about digital ID and the under 16-year-old social media ban. You know, we all know they want to corral us into that electrified fence. You know, at the moment we're free range prisoners. They just want to, you know, make sure they turn it right up, the voltage right up for us. But also, I did make the point that they actually need to get young people off of social media, because young people, just like adults, are sourcing their news and information online. Nobody's watching corporate media anymore. Nobody's watching the 7:30 report. You know, this new show, The Insiders, you know, where they get a panel of commentators to sit around and pretend that, you know, they're it's just ridiculous. Nobody is watching this stuff anymore. So they need to get, particularly the kids, off of social media, because they're receiving information which is not government approved information, right? It doesn't follow the narrative. They can't have kids watching this. So I did see this video this morning that we're going to watch. It's from the UK. let me just turn it up. And I think this demonstrates my point very nicely about why they need to get kids off of social media. Let's listen to this together, everyone.
My stepdaughter, who's just turned 18, a couple of days after the election, luckily, has been completely radicalised just purely from TikTok, Instagram. Her views now are just, they just drive me absolutely up the wall.
So her stepdaughter has been radicalised by social media, by TikTok, by Instagram, right? You think, oh, holy patchouli, that's not good, is it? Well, let's just listen to how this young person has been radicalised.
Is it that she's fallen for? What is the...
Oh, there's too many people here.
Right.
People that are brown are raping everybody, and
Oops, that's probably going to get me a strike on YouTube. Well, that's not true, is it? That can't be true.
oh, just horrific. She thinks that Labour is bringing in shisha law, which she said to me yesterday.
Shisha.
Yeah,
Well, it was
rather-
Sharia last week. I'm
Yeah.
not Sharia, Shakira.
So now they're dismissing. Now they're dismissing this young person's conversation because they're using the wrong words. Should stop interrupting.
Shakira
Shakira,
last
yeah,
week.
she has called it Shakira as well.
Right.
Yeah. When I've asked her what's that about, we try and ask her question. We try and use your tactic when, rather than getting agitated with her,
Yes.
we try and say to her, okay, well, what do you think of this? Or, well, where do you think that came from? And she just ends up in going, oh, you're just been like, Labour have got to you voted Labour, so you just don't understand.
What
Yeah?
faces? You don't have to tell me, but what sort of people is she? I've mentioned
Nigel
one.
Farage.
Really?
Nigel Farage, Trump.
Yeah.
She just reposts, and I think what happens with the algorithm, you see one thing, and then I've actually looked on her TikTok, and I was just disgusted, because it was her younger brother that said, "Have you seen her TikTok?"
Right.
He's 14, and luckily he thinks she's just crazy. So because I've said to him, don't watch Andrew Tate, and I'm trying to teach him the right thing as well. And luckily he hasn't gone down that same path, but he's seen what she's reposting.
So there we go, everybody. I mean, that just goes to illustrate my point as to why they want people on social media. We've got Stifler's mum. My children don't have social media. Why? I'm their mother and choose not to let them have it. If a mother chooses a different option, well, then that's their prerogative. Exactly. And, said it before, say it again. How about the government get out of our lives and let us parent our own children? But I think that goes to illustrate, people think, oh, because a young person likes Trump and Nigel Farage, and they say that there's too many brown people in our country, you must be hateful, bigoted, and you're saying that because you've been radicalised by social media. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, we've even got Ben Fordham reporting on 1,500 immigrants arriving every single day in Australia. I haven't fact checked that myself, but that's been reported this morning by Ben Fordham. So, saying that there's too many brown people in the UK, well, I don't think that is porkies, hey? But because it doesn't follow the government-approved narrative, they want to say that, it's harmful content for the young people and they're all being radicalised, right? And they've got to stop the young people having access to social media. And, as I've reported before, that just goes to prove my point. And all of these left libtard adults who ring up TV shows and say such things because they think them. These are the people whose brains have fallen out. Their brain literally fell out of their head, rolled down the street and into a gutter. And then they just kept on walking. La-di-da-di-da. I'll just believe what the television and the parliamentarians and the unelected bureaucrats keep telling me. And that must be right. Yeah. I think you're right too. Mish, I think it was grape. Yes, a lot of grapes in today's episode. Melentius Gaming, yes, Roblox. Roblox is an issue. Yes, it is. And I'd really like I'd like to have a guest on to talk about Roblox. So if you have an opinion that you can demonstrate to the audience, send me an email to Courage's Secure Team at yahoo.com and would love to have you join me on the show. That's unusual. To talk about Roblox. That's right. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So anyway, that just demonstrates my point. Now, the last bit of the show that I did want to get onto, and somebody did talk about it in the comments. We'll just mention Gail first. Four Corners tonight. It's going to be fun. I'm tossing up. Should I do a follow-up to the Four Corner show? Because last time I did that with Michael Gray Griffith, we got a 10-year ban. Because we did a follow-up to Four Corners Wind Wars in regards to the offshore-onshore wind turbine farms. And that's when we copped a 10-year social media ban on Fascist Book for the Cafe Locked Out main page. But anyway, yes, that will be interesting tonight. What I wanted to end the show with, in regards to South Australia, Gaslight, Restrict, Repeat, is this algal bloom issue. So Ingrid Joy has commented, we also have an algal bloom issue threatening our fish and industry, talking about shutting down beaches in summer. Surely not. Surely not. Surely not. Melentius, so you have no idea what is wrong with Roblox, but you think it is a problem. No, I do have an idea. I'm just asking for guests, and I like to keep on track in my show. But thank you for your comment. Yes. Mish, I wonder how many online games are actually controlling a real-life moment somewhere. Yes, well, if we are living in a simulation, well, there you go. So let's get along to the last part of the show, which is the algal bloom. We are going to screen the share one more time. And this is from Waltzing RN Lilydale on X. And until I saw this, I hadn't really considered it much, just like I've been saying throughout the show that, just like people don't care about Western Australia, people don't care about South Australia, so on and so forth. So Waltzing R in Lilydale has said there's a significant algal bloom in South Australia. The government is trying to say it's caused by climate change. That's a lie. Because of the drought in South Australia, they ramped up the production of the desalination plant. So let's have a look at this video, everybody. I think it's quite interesting. This guy is analysing the media, which is something that I spend a lot of time doing. Let's watch this together. Here we go, everybody.
I called this guy a liar yesterday. His name's Peter Malinakis, and I'm going to show you why he's lying. This was in 2024.
Infrastructure investment in our state's history.
A $5 billion desalination plant and pipeline near Tumby Bay on the Eyre Peninsula, pumping water 600 kilometres from the Spencer Gulf to thirsty mines. mainly BHP, which wants to significantly grow copper production.
We need a reliable and commercially competitive supply of water.
The mega project could lead to enough kickback from royalties and
So this is a huge project. This isn't a normal desal plant. This is a humongous one they've made for BHP and mining. So taking that into note, just keep in this context that when we've had these fish die-offs before overseas, they've had a lot to do with desal plants, particularly in Saudi Arabia. So this is an organised commercial TV panel, and they've got a media plant here. And come and have a look.
A lot of people are talking about it.
Where did it come from? They're saying climate change, but I have to be honest, there's a lot of talk in the community about that Chinese ship that went up and down the coast.
So she's a media plant there to confuse you, and they want you to be thinking conspiracy theory, and they want you to align that the desal plant is a conspiracy theory when it definitely isn't.
Around, have they been looked at, and have they been managed to be explained away?
Yeah, each have been thoroughly examined, and every time we hear an idea coming from the community, it is looked at. But we can say with absolute confidence, without qualification, that the desal plant and Chinese warships have nothing to do with this. It started from that tweet.
He bundled conspiracy theories with desalination there, and that's because he wants you to think that desalination and conspiracy theory are connected when they definitely are.
So everybody, if this is not another example of South Australia, and funnily enough, we've got South Australia Premier Peter and the Chief Health Officer, Miss Nicola, sitting next to each other. If this isn't another point to demonstrate the playbook of South Australia, gaslight, restrict, repeat. I don't know what is. This video isn't finished yet. Continue to play it.
Flood, biggest since 1956, along with the other nutrients coming into the water. Then there was the marine heat wave. And then the other element that is required beyond heat and nutrients for the algae to thrive is sunlight. And we've seen a disproportionate...
So that's absolute bullshit. Like, sunlight does not cause algae blooms. They'd be happening everywhere in the world. So he's going on a rant here, but he finishes with an absolute lie again. And so I'll just play this out.
Certainly large amount of sunlight in April, May, which is consistent with the drought. Less rain, less cloud cover, more light, and that allows the algae to bloom. But in fact, just on the desal plant, it's interesting. The science tells us that the Karenia micimoitoi, the algae, performs less well as the salinity goes up. So if the theory is that the desal plant is increasing salinity in our water, and that's causing the algal bloom, the opposite is in fact true. So these myths, these are genuine concerns that people raise.
So that's where the absolute bullshit is. You can Google it, you can see desalination plants around the world, particularly in Saudi Arabia, cause these events. Why this is so important is WA is about to build a massive desal plant. Other places in Australia are about to do it because they need access to fresh water and they can't get it any other way. Maybe we need desal plants, but they've got to use technology that means that this brine doesn't go out to sea and cause these types of things to happen. There's one in Wonthaggi that might open soon, and we're going to get red tides if we don't shut down these desalination plants or do.
So everybody, it's not just we look at politics, we look at our health, we look at our use of social media, we look at the environment. Whether or not you care about sea life, whether or not you care about algal bloom, whether or not you care about being able to swim in the ocean safely, our environment, actually caring about the environment, not this climate scam. They come at us every which way, and that's why I want to know what Miss Nicola and Mr. Peter have been offered when they go through the revolving door, because It's this one, this one, this one, this one. They're sitting there together, all aboard. Woo-woo. All aboard the same train. Now, further along that thread of that post, I just want to take you down to a post from a politician. This is Sarah Game. Let me just pause it so that we can read her post together. So Sarah Game MLC, toxic chemicals used at the Adelaide desalination plant, including acids, biocides and heavy metals, are released into the sea through brine discharge. Given the recent reports of marine deaths, are all chemicals being monitored and what's being done to rule out the plant as the cause? Now, this was uploaded May 15, 2025. So let's have a listen to this together from Sarah Game, MLC.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Adelaide desalination plant produces fresh water from seawater by forcing seawater through filters. The water which passes through the filters is fresh water. The water which does not pass through the filters is mainly brine, with data showing that the salt concentration is at times twice that of seawater. The brine discharge also contains traces of a large number of chemicals used in the cleaning of the plant. The chemicals are toxic and include detergents, biocides, chelators, acids and caustics, as well as heavy metals. Adelaide Aqua DNC Consortium operates the desalination plant and is required to monitor some of the chemicals in the brine discharge, while the Environmental Protection Agency monitors the brine discharge pumped into the sea from Lonsdale. My questions to the Attorney General representing the Minister for Climate, Environment and Water are: 1. Will the government make public the full list of all chemicals being used to maintain the desalination plant? 2. Are all the chemicals used at the Adelaide desalination plant being monitored in the brine discharge? And 3. Given the unexplained death of many marine animals reported in the past 6 months, what is the government doing to rule out long-term brine discharge as the cause of these deaths?
Attorney General.
I thank the Honourable Member for her question. I will pass them on to the relevant Minister in another place, and I'll just check. I'm not sure if it's Minister Close. I suspect it's Minister Champion who might have responsibility for the desal plant with SA Water as part of the infrastructure portfolio. But I will check which is the correct minister and make sure a reply is brought back to the Honourable Member.
So there we go, everybody. Don't know, thanks. I'll pass it on. What else do you expect? I mean, I don't have any answers here as far as, talking about algal bloom and desalination plants. But I sure as shit know that, we have a record of the South Australian government gaslighting everybody, restricting everybody and repeating it. Just on and on and on and on. On and on. And as I pointed out before, because, it's one of these states that nobody particularly pays attention to, these things just keep happening. It's a literal playbook. And, in this circumstance, we're talking about an environmental disaster. I mean, but it couldn't be the result of human activity, could it? No, all the things that they want to restrict us from doing, right, is because of human activity, because of, we're hurting the climate. We're responsible for climate change. But in this circumstance, no, couldn't be humans. Couldn't be a desalination plant. Couldn't be any of the chemicals that we release. It's not. Humans haven't done that. No, of course not. Of course not. Because it doesn't serve the narrative, the government-approved narrative. That's why. That's why. Mish, something is going on and lots more lives and livelihoods are being affected in this time of cost of living. They're making climate change look like climate change. Exactly. You can't have that. You can't point out actual actual climate disasters, especially when they're actually caused by humans. Because then we have to acknowledge that we can have an impact on the environment. It's just not in the way that they're telling us that we do. So they can't highlight that, can they? Because they make climate change look like climate change. I mean, the mental gymnastics, right? My brain gets tired because of the mental gymnastics. We need a mental gymnastics button, everybody, as well. Should we add that to the list? Ear piercing, ear bleeding, knicker twisting, eye twitching, mental gymnastics buttons. Bing, 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 bing. We've pressed them all today. I mean, honestly, it's just nuts. So, South Australia, Peter, we see you. Miss Nicola, we see you. Remember, don't touch the football, everybody. Health officials wouldn't gaslight people, would they? No, absolutely not. In Tassie, they want to build an AI centre which will need huge amounts of fresh water. Yeah, one of those data centres. Yes, they're popping up everywhere. Of course, generally the locals are not consulted, especially when they're near people's homes or in areas which already have water availability problems. No, don't worry about that. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't need to consult anybody. Don't need to talk to the community about it. Not at all. Not at all. Hello, Patrick. How you doing? Alrighty, everybody. So there we go. Gaslight, Restricted Peak, the South Australian playbook. And Peter and Nicola, I wonder how long your contracts are and what you're going to get when you walk through that revolving door. I'd really like to know. It's always the fun part, especially after the Britney Spears era, watching all these people leave their positions, the new positions that they get, where they move to, and all those sorts of things. Brain drainer. Yeah. All righty, everybody. Make sure you share the show. In particular, my show on Friday, which was about Jacinta Allen being full of ideas. That show was a ripper. I haven't had time to break it up into segments and smaller videos. I hope I might have some time today, but I don't think I will. Please share that show as well, because that was a ripper of a show. I must say so myself. Hi, people of power. Yep, go along to the lightaustralia.com and get yourself the latest issue of The Light. And make sure you have a wonderful afternoon. And I will see you tomorrow, actually, for a special interview in the afternoon. Be a short one, but nonetheless, I will see you tomorrow afternoon. All right, everybody. See ya.
Strength of a woman.